What if you could get inside the mind of a founder whose company is already worth $9 billion? Well, today, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're breaking down the system Vercel CEO Guillermo Rauch uses to come up with, prototype, and even pitch world-class AI startup ideas. All right, let's get into it. Here's what we're covering. First, we'll look at the secret sauce, how he actually thinks about building things. Then we'll see how he uses this AI tool, V0, to make his ideas real in just minutes. After that, we're unpacking 3 huge startup ideas he shared: an AI-powered camera, AI forms, and a deep research tool. And finally, we'll boil it all down to his essential design rules. So to really get Guillermo's playbook, you have to get his core philosophy. See, he doesn't just use his own tools to build stuff. He uses them to think. He uses them to talk to his team and even to pitch clients. It's his whole system for taking an idea that's just in his head and turning it into something real that people can see and touch. Yeah, he pretty much throws the old school slide deck out the window. When he had a meeting with one of the biggest companies in the world, you know how he sold them? Not with a PowerPoint. He literally started prototyping live, right there in the meeting, showing them what the product could do. It's all about showing, not just telling. Okay, so how does he actually pull that off? The secret to this whole show-don't-tell thing is Vercel's own AI tool, V0. Basically, it's designed to turn a simple text prompt, just plain English, into a working piece of a website. It lets him make even his most complicated ideas visible instantly. So he'll often start with a problem like this. How do you explain something super technical like Vercel's fluid compute system to a customer who's not an engineer? I mean, it's really hard to describe with just words. And getting a designer to make a graphic would usually take hours, if not days. And this is where it gets kind of magical. To explain that whole complex system, he just types a prompt into V0. And bam, seconds later, the AI spits out this unique, professional-looking data visualization. It's something he can use right away to make his own thinking clearer, share with his team, or put right in front of a customer. So the really crucial thing here is the change in how you communicate. You know the old way, right? You send like 10 different Slack messages back and forth trying to explain a new feature. The V0 way? You just build a high-fidelity component, something that looks and feels like the real thing, and you just send the link. The team doesn't have to guess what you mean. They can see it. They can click on it. They can even grab the code. And look, this isn't just for little buttons and things. He wanted to build a really unique kind of complex component for the Vercel blog that syncs up with video timestamps. Instead of writing a huge spec doc for his engineers, he just popped open V0. In 15 minutes, using just 13 prompts, he had a working prototype of the exact thing he was imagining. All right, now let's see how this way of thinking actually leads to some big startup ideas. This first one comes from a frustration I think we've all felt, just trying to take a decent photo on your phone. The whole idea really sparked from him watching a relative who just loved taking pictures of the moon. But no matter what she did, the photos were, well, they were terrible. And it just highlighted this universal problem. Even with these incredible phones we all have, it's still really hard to be a great photographer. So that led to this concept of an AI camera. The main idea is to flip how we think about photos. The picture you snap isn't the final product. It's just the input for an AI model that can then go and perfect it. He even used V0 to build a quick prototype called Nano Banana. You take a selfie, and then you can use these AI filters to instantly make yourself look Argentino style or disco style. Okay, idea number 2. This one targets one of the most basic and honestly, one of the most annoying parts of the internet, the form. I mean, think about it. You land on a website and you're hit with this giant wall of 20 different boxes to fill out. It's intimidating, right? A lot of us just close the tab. The vision here is to replace that boring, static list with a conversational AI that asks for information one little piece at a time, just like you're having a natural chat. Kind of like what Typeform did for surveys. So how would you even build a first version, an MVP of this? He lays it out in 3 clear steps. Step 1. The person making the form just describes what they want in plain English, like, I need to get info for a VIP waiting list. Step 2. An AI generates the entire interface for creating that form. And step 3, another AI then runs the actual conversational experience for the user who's filling it out. So why is this such a massive idea? Because forms are what he calls a fundamental primitive. Almost everything valuable that happens online, buying something, signing up for a newsletter, getting a quote, it all involves a form. So if you can reinvent that core building block, your total addressable market, your TAM, is, well, basically the entire internet. Now for the last idea, and this one is definitely the most ambitious. It's a tool for those times when you need to go way, way deeper than just chatting with a single AI can get you. The problem he's pointing to is this. When you're doing really critical research, say analyzing a stock or trying to debug a crazy software bug, just trusting what one large language model tells you is super risky, right? They all have their own biases, their own blind spots. To get the full picture, you need to be able to cross-reference multiple AI brains at once. Now, the really cool part is how this tool would work. It would ping every major AI model out there at the same time. ChatGPT, Grok, Claude, the whole crew. But here's the secret sauce. It wouldn't just mash their answers together. It would create one single ultimate report that specifically calls out where the AIs disagree. It would highlight the contradictions, because that's where the real insights are hiding. So we've seen the mindset, we've seen the ideas. Let's wrap this all up by boiling down Guillermo's entire philosophy into 3 simple, powerful rules for anyone out there building a product. These are really the principles behind everything we just talked about. Rule number 1. This is the piece of advice he repeats more than any other. You have to simplify relentlessly. When you're designing something, your first instinct should always be to remove things. You can see this in the AI-powered form idea, right? It's about deleting that long, scary list of fields. Every single button, every link on the screen has to earn its right to be there. And that leads directly to his second rule. Using less on the screen. Fewer pixels forces you to focus on the one thing that truly matters, the core function. You saw that with the AI camera idea. The screen is super simple because the AI does all the heavy lifting in the background. And a great side effect of this is that it almost always leads to a better mobile experience, which, let's be honest, is where most people are anyway. And finally, this all comes down to his last rule, total accountability. When a user gets confused or when a feature isn't working for them, you never, ever blame the user. Think back to those bad moon photos. The problem wasn't that his relative was a bad photographer. The problem was that the phone's camera wasn't a good enough product. The responsibility is always, always on the creator. And that really brings us to the final takeaway here. Guillermo's whole system is built on this one simple premise. With AI tools like V0, that huge gap between having an idea and actually building a working prototype, well, it's smaller than it has ever been. The tools are here, the ideas are everywhere. So that just leaves one question.